In a moment that no one saw coming, especially not Ebube Nwagbo, who was probably just minding her fine, ageless business, Kcee decided to rattle some very dusty skeleton on the Tea with Tay podcast by casually setting the internet on fire with one spicy confession on the podcast. He spoke of the long-forgotten romance with the one and only Ebube Nwagbo, Nollywood's own goddess of glow. Back then, he said he had a strong affection for many actresses, but the one with Ebube was special. According to him, they weren't the couple, a power duo of red carpets and tabloids front pages. They weren't just dating, they were everywhere. And according to him, they were this close to tying the knot. The kind of marriage that would have had Ovation magazine begging for an exclusive and half of Nollywood camping outside the wedding venue.
One person. Our relationship was everywhere, was Ebube Nwagbo.
Oh, she's legendary. I love her.
And our relationship was always front cover. And when any event they did red carpet, they keep seat for front. You know, if you see us in the club, it's a news.
But that must have been a cute relationship. She was single at the time, she was young. Yeah.
We're close to getting married, you know.
What really happened to their relationship? Because as we all know, if a Nigerian man starts reminiscing about an old flame on a podcast, best believe there's premium love and heartbreak. Let's flash back to the late 2000s and early 2010s. A time when newspapers were still a thing, when Instagram hadn't fully formed, and when celebrity gossip relied heavily on according to one source who chose to remain anonymous. In that era, Kcee wasn't just known for his music, he was known for his endless red carpet appearances with the stunning Ebube Nwagbo. She was tall, fine, and gave the kind of effortless beauty that didn't need filters or face app. Pair her with Kcee's then signature gold, loud fashion choices, and borderline questionable accessories, and you had a duo that looked like a photoshopped GQ cover. Chaotic, loud, and oddly captivating. Their relationship was so public that you could have sworn they were being sponsored by City People magazine. They weren't just in love, they were the headline. Paparazzi lived for their entrances. The blogs fed on every glance they exchanged, and the public was convinced that the wedding was inevitable. Even their enemies had started preparing outfits. But unknown to Ebube, and honestly most of the public, something sinister was brewing in the background. Something stronger than love, louder than paparazzi, and more unpredictable than NEPA. His mother. Yes, the original big boss of the Okonkwo family was not here for Nollywood Wahala, and when Nigerian mothers get involved in relationships, let's just say no amount of red carpet PDA can save you. According to insider whispers, some relatives, some from overseers, hairdressers, the Okonkwo matriarch, had already decided that Ebube, no matter how fine, how classy, or how famous, was not wife material. Her reasons? Oh, the usual Nigerian mother checklists. She's an actress, red flag. She's too popular, red flag. Kcee's mother reportedly didn't trust Nollywood actresses. In her eyes, they were either too materialistic or lazy to do house chores. And worst of all, what if the fame fades and she leaves her son when he's broke? And just like that, our dear Ebube was officially cancelled from the Okonkwo family WhatsApp group. Meanwhile, on the other side of the romantic ring, another love story was quietly being arranged behind closed doors. Ijeoma Okonkwo, the quiet, soft-spoken sweetheart that Kcee's mother had been eyeing for daughter-in-law duties. Ijeoma wasn't in Nollywood, wasn't on red carpet, and wasn't posing for paparazzi. She was peaceful, a woman of God, a woman that could cook for her in the kitchen and still greet her with two knees. In other words, she was mother approved. Ijeoma may have been the chosen wife, but she was always kept in the shadows. Ebube was the one who matched his celebrity status and walked beside him like an equal match, something Kcee couldn't resist. He flaunted Ebube like a Grammy trophy. So while Ebube was out here thinking she was about to be serenaded down the aisle with a violin version of Limpopo, Kcee was out here playing love chess, publicly dating one woman while privately planning to marry another. Turns out Kcee secretly married Ijeoma in 2010, right in the middle of his very public relationship with Ebube. And when we say privately, we don't mean some low-key Instagram post. We mean full-blown secret society level marriage. Legends has it that Ebube had no idea. In fact, most people didn't even know Ijeoma existed. She was being hidden like secret documents during EFCC raids. Here is the peak madness. He was still living with Ebube at the time. They lived together in Omwale Phase 1 from 2009 to 2011, sharing the same roof, while his official wife, Ijeoma, was already in the picture living with his mother in the village. Of course, when Ebube found out, it wasn't pretty. Sources say the breakup was like a Nollywood film, tears, shouting, possibly a flying shoe or two. She packed her things, her pride, and whatever was left of her trust in men and left. But she didn't go quietly. Oh no, the public fallout shook both fans and Kcee's marriage to the core. Kcee's marriage, unsurprisingly, wasn't strong enough to withstand the blast. Because as they say, karma doesn't just knock, it breaks down the door with a sledgehammer. Barely 2 years later, in 2013, Ijeoma packed her bags and gave him breathing space. Allegedly, it wasn't just Ebube. There were whispers of other actresses too. Anita Joseph's name popped up, which makes sense because if Kcee was going to cheat, at least he stayed within the Nollywood league, loyalty to the brand. After the separation, Kcee, like many Nigerian men who finally realized peace of mind is not sold in Lekki malls, tried to crawl back to Ebube. Maybe he thought she'd still be waiting with open arms and freshly cooked egusi. By then, Ebube had gone from the nation's sweethearts to the woman everybody's blamed. People said she was refusing to move on, that she was still chasing married men. It didn't matter that it was Kcee who had publicly humiliated her. The sexist double standards of society went into full overdrive. The same people who once hailed her beauty and elegance were now dragging her for daring to still exist. It got so messy that when Vanguard reported in 2014 that she had allegedly moved back in with Kcee, this time to his new house in Chevron Estate, people didn't even blink. The headline was as dramatic as the situation. It was almost like a sequel to a soap opera nobody asked for. But Ebube wasn't having it this time. She came out with a strong denial, insisting she was still on the mainland, not in Lekki. She wanted no part of that narrative again, not after the emotional fufu she had been forced to swallow. Her reputation took hits. People blamed her for continuing to hang around her ex even after he had married someone else. They said she was chasing clout. Some called her desperate. By this point, the whole country was confused. Was she back with him? Was she not? Was Ijeoma still in the picture? Was Kcee never truly in love or just managing whoever fit the script at the time? You see, in this whole drama, Ebube went from the girl everyone admired on the red carpets to the one people whispered about in the salons and pepper soup joints, all because she dated a man who couldn't choose between the woman he loved and the woman his family approved. One thing became clear: Kcee might have moved on musically, but romantically he was still caught in a triangle that made Bermuda look like child's play. So why bring it up now? Why go on a podcast in 2025 and start reliving this wild roller coaster like it was an innocent high school fling? To this day, Kcee speaks fondly of her. When he sat down with Tamison, there was a certain nostalgia in his voice, like a man who once had jollof with smoked turkey but was forced to settle for white rice and stew because his mother said pepper wasn't good for his blood pressure. He said they were close to marriage, that they were everywhere together, and that their love was undeniable. But when asked what happened, he simply shrugged and said, whatever happened, happened. Let's not lie, men like Kcee are the reason therapists stay employed. Because how do you go from living with a woman, showcasing her at every event like a trophy wife, to marry someone else in secret? Because let's be honest, Kcee never really had another public romance that carried the star power of Ebube. They looked like the kind of couple that would have had a YouTube channel and a joint perfume line by now, if only family politics hadn't interfered. It's almost funny, isn't it? A love story that had all the ingredients of success destroyed not by infidelity or betrayal at first, but by one mother's disapproval and a man who couldn't pick a side. Now, years later, the same man who made everyone believe he was madly in love with Ijeoma is reminiscing about Ebube, like she was the one that got away, the one he almost married, the one who made the headlines, the one who shared his spotlight, the one who didn't need approval because she had the public's heart. And Ebube, she's still fine, still glowing, and still very much unbothered. If she ever decides to write a memoir, best believe that chapter titled "The Man Who Married Someone Else While Living With Me" will outsell every novel in Nigeria. As for Kcee, he will keep dropping music, attending red carpet events, and possibly dropping more podcast confessions. But deep down, everyone knows the truth, that once upon a time, he had the love story of a lifetime and chose to play politics instead.